around Donald Trump, maybe not with great enthusiasm, but whether it's enthusiasm or acceptance or resignation, the sense that he is very likely to be the Republican nominee. I think almost more interesting is, as you pointed out, the fact that Trump has traveled all the way across the country to California to meet with the insiders. Now, when they have the primary on June 7th, people will be pledged and legally bound to vote for the person who wins in their congressional district or wins statewide for at least the first ballot. But Trump, who's been just, slaughtered by Cruz in these inside games and in these state conventions as to who the actual person will be in the seat, whether it's a Trump supporter voting for Trump or a Cruz supporter, he's lost at that, and he wants to do better in California. And that's important because if it does go to a second ballot, then people are unbound. They can vote for whomever they want. So if you're Trump, you'd rather have somebody who really likes you in the seat rather than somebody who would vote for somebody else on a second ballot.
All right, now we're looking at something incredibly unusual, I think. The motorcade carrying Donald Trump arrived, but because of all the protesters who are out in front, they circled around and went to the backside of the building, and then they walked along an area that has been cordoned off with those concrete barricades, and Donald Trump literally had to jump down from one of the barricades onto the grassy area and hop over a curb to get to, with the Secret Service in tow, of course, to get to the back of the building to avoid all of these Trump protesters. I mean, Chris, it's quite a scene, really.
Yeah, that is. There are a lot of things in this season I have never seen before, and that's one of them, especially somebody with Secret Service protection. Usually, under those circumstances, they're just going to go through, but I guess they felt it was safer to, as you say, go along the back and climb over a barricade and jump down and do it this way. That's a new one for me.
Yeah. I wonder the extent to which some of these protests, and we saw in Costa Mesa, California yesterday, it did get bloody and violent and, smashed windows of police cars and so forth. Does that affect voters in any measurable way, do you think?
I don't know. I mean, you could argue it both ways. You could say that it hurts Trump. People see how controversial he is and the people that oppose him, and therefore maybe he's too divisive. On the other hand, you've got to assume most of the voters, and even in California in a Republican primary, are pretty conservative, and maybe they look at the protesters in the street and say, well, if they're against him, then he must be doing something right, and it's kind of a badge of honor. So, it's hard to predict anything in this campaign. Yeah. But I think, net, it probably is more of a plus than a minus for Trump.
I was looking at the latest field poll in California.